what I'd like to do is to have someone with an issue out here. I'm going to ask for a physical issue in this particular case, to come sit up here. And what we're going to do is start asking questions about this issue. So we're going to get some background, like when did it start, and might there be an emotional thing behind it, and how bad is it, and that kind of stuff. And then this person here is going to leave the room and is going to go for a 15-minute walk someplace. Totally outside here, they cannot hear or know anything that's going on in this room, and we as a group are going to tap for their issue. And when they come back, we'll see what happens. Okay? So I need a volunteer. Who wants to get here? She wants to get fixed. Come on up. This is Betty.
Betsy.
Betsy, I'm sorry. Let's have a hand for Betsy. Okay. And if you would, let me see. I'm just going to stick this thing over there. Let me. Well, maybe I should have asked what the pain is first, but what the heck?
This is the pain I was working on in the group exercise, which did not change.
Okay, and that is?
That's my left inner ankle.
Your
it's
left
right
inner
in
ankle.
here.
Uh-huh.
This is a chronic one. I've had it most of my adult life. I have a flat foot on
You have
this
a flat
side
foot.
too.
Okay. So you have a mechanical reason for this problem to occur? Being
Yes.
a flat foot, therefore, I mean, if I'm a doctor, which I'm not, I would
Yes.
say, well, you have a flat foot, and therefore the angle of the whatever it is and so on is causing too much stress and strain, blah, 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 and
Yes.
therefore you have a pain.
And I still run and walk on it probably more than I should. Because
okay.
I love movement, but
So you irritate it by running and walking.
I
Are
have
we
to
still
be
okay
careful.
sound-wise? Okay, go ahead.
But I have to, I find myself all the time having to be careful with this side. I cannot balance on this foot in yoga class. That's another example of how
Okay.
it gets in the way. But I have not run on it for a week, so I haven't been pushing it lately. In fact, the pain is more than it usually is. So it's unusual.
Did it go up as a result of sitting in this room this morning?
No,
or-
it stayed about the same. It was a 5 or 4 or 5. I'd
So
have
it's
to
a
look
four,
at my
It's a
paper
4 or 5 now?
right now. Yeah, it's
But you have to do this to make it a 4 or 5?
right,
If you just sit there and don't do anything with it, is it a 0?
pretty much.
Okay,
yeah.
but you got to give it one of
when
these
I
things.
move it, then I know it's
Okay,
there.
but where specifically?
It's right here.
So you've got to move your foot out
Yeah,
like that.
it's
So
right
like
there.
out there. Okay, now I don't want to do any damage, but I'm going to ask you: is if I force it even further, would it hurt more?
Go ahead and try. I mean,
Well, okay. I'm not a doctor. Okay.
I know.
Here we go.
I trust you.
All right.
That doesn't hurt more.
Okay, it doesn't hurt. So we can really stress it up. It's just that movement in general. Makes it a 5. I'm hearing a 5.
It's more when I move it this way.
Oh, move this. Okay, so pay attention, Gary. So. If
Oh yeah, I
Oh,
feel
that's
it
more.
Yeah, it feels more.
Okay, so what did we get to on that?
Not that much more.
Well-
Maybe keep going. Yeah, it goes to a 6. I mean, it's not that much more,
Okay.
but I notice it more.
Okay. Now, a question I have for you is what you said was, I have a flat foot, therefore I have this thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I heard you
Contributing
say.
factor.
Oh, well, okay. Is that what the doctor says to you?
I don't listen to the doctor very much.
Okay.
But
Well, what I'm trying to get to is,
yeah. Okay.
I know lots of people with flat feet.
Let me cut to
You're
the
the
chase.
only one I know that has that.
Let me
okay?
cut to the chase on this because I started getting information while you were handling the emotional stuff. And I think it has to do with being fully earthly present in this life.
Okay, you don't have any emotion about that at the moment, do you?
It's starting to bubble up.
Okay, all right. Now that's a big, broad area.
Yeah.
That's about as broad an issue as I've heard.
Yeah, it's about fear.
Yeah.
And I
Well,
even,
be more specific, fear of?
fear of completely owning my role as a healer.
Completely
And-
owning your rules. So you have,
And a visionary and someone who must be very brave to
who must be very
to
brave.
do my job here.
Okay, and so why do you need to be, do you mind if I ask you? You can sit down if you want, because I'm going to get
No,
a little
I
more
want to
specific.
do this. I want to
Okay.
deal with it. Yeah.
So, your abilities as a healer, I have to have those words again. Give me the words again. The fear is?
Completely owning my role As healer.
Completely owning your role as healer. I don't know what that means. What would have to happen for you to completely own your role as healer?
To be it in all ways.
To be it in all ways.
And to just stop the resistance.
And how does the resistance show up? I'm your client, so what kind of resistance do you have?
I go up here instead of here.
Uh-huh. Okay. So you get very cerebral and engineerish, right?
Oh, yeah. I was a chemist before I
You were a
started doing
chemist.
this.
Oh,
So
well,
you
now
get
I
that, don't you?
understand. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
From a chemical point of view, water is H2O, and that's it, right? There isn't any other ways to go about it. Where with healing, there's all kinds of different permutations of stuff, right? Water is water. Healing is
But it's
whatever
all,
it is.
it's all everything.
Okay, so what I want to see that is so broad that we could do some tapping on something so broad, but we don't know really what we're tapping at, because it's like, I mean, this metaphor I've done more recently is like this huge tabletop that is the way that, by the way, clients usually state their problem in very global terms. I don't feel lovable. I feel abandoned. It's very global. And sometimes we try to do EFT and this global stuff, and it's like trying to chop down a whole forest with one swing of the axe, and it's a little impractical. See? So I like to get down to specific events.
Okay.
See, this tabletop is held up by table legs, and these table legs are the specific events in one's life. So one cannot have this tabletop thing unless there are specific events that point right to it, that underlie it. And so what we do is we take these specific events, these table legs, and chop them down one at a time, and after a while, after we've done 5, 10, whatever, all 1,000 of them collapse, and down it goes. So,
I think I know something.
okay, you have a specific event.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it one that's too personal to share here?
No, not at all.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, when I was
Before you do it,
Okay.
on a scale of 0 to 10, what level of intensity do you expect to get to?
I had to guess because I don't really feel. Probably about a 6.
Okay, well, just go
Yeah.
ahead, tell the story.
When I was right before kindergarten, I moved to a new house, and my mother was pregnant at the time. I had 2 little sisters, and the place where we moved, the elementary school wasn't ready yet, so I had to take multiple buses to go to this new school.
And you're how old?
I was about 5 or 6.
All right, go ahead.
And my middle sister got very, very sick that year, and my mother had the baby.
Yes.
So my mom was very much involved with the baby, and the middle sister had serious intestinal blockage and had to be in the hospital. So my parents were very traumatized by this. I think I picked up on a lot that was going on with them, and I decided to be quiet and not make trouble.
Okay. I want to narrow that down to your response, which I want to get to, is never what happened. It's your response to what happened that we can work with. What happened is history. You can't change it. But your response to it. So you're going to be very quiet. Now, I'm guessing that there is some self-talk in there as to why we need to be quiet.
Yeah.
If I make noise, the consequence would be?
I'm not comfortable getting their attention because it takes away from the people that really need it.
It takes away from the people that really need it. Now, behind that, I'm suspicioning even some other stuff, and I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm evolving in this here.
Okay, because, I hope you're taking notes here, because I don't, because. By the way, before you do anything else, is your ankle any worse or any better?
It's about the same.
It's about the same. All right, go ahead. I gotta stop a second. The reason I'm checking that out is because oftentimes this thing will change as she's getting into emotional issues. It didn't happen to her in this time. If it did, it's just good evidence, for the client to understand what's going on. But go ahead.
Yeah. I'm getting really thirsty now. Do you have any water up here?
Well,
Or can somebody give me my cup?
yeah. Some water's coming up here. Hold on a second.
It's almost like it's dangerous to get attention.
It's dangerous to get attention. Okay.
That is
and
strange.
Okay, but no, that's why we're asking the questions. We're trying to get more specific.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
See, if it's dangerous to get attention, could that not be behind somewhere lurking in the background about this thing about being a healer and you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know specifically, but that's the feeling.
Like in some past lifetime, there was some real penalty for being out there, successful, acknowledged in some fashion.
Very good at healing.
And very good at healing.
I mean, over the top healing.
Over the top healing. So,
Yeah.
so Dr. Phil, maybe.
Oh, not him.
I couldn't resist it. I just couldn't.
No.
But some really well-known healer that we may know today, if you were that person, you just wouldn't be there because you'd never get there because you would put the brakes on before you got there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Putting the brakes on, that had nothing to do with feet because you.
That's not my brake foot, but
Yeah,
that's
not
on
your
that side, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. Well. Okay.
And it's still the same. It's
All right.
nothing changed.
Well, we've got something to work with here, but what I want to do is to, if I can take this away. Well, I can't do that. I need another microphone. Can we make this one active as well? Easily. If it's not, okay, then I'll just use mine. Okay. What I want to do is come out in the audience, and if you have questions for, remember, we're going to send her out of the room, and you're going to be doing some tapping. So if you have questions, etc., let us know what they are so we can get this out. So who has? Go ahead. Hamoud.
It's not a question, suggestion. We're going to do the tapping now?
No.
No.
She's going to leave the room.
Okay.
Do you have questions for her that would help you understand better what to tap on?
No.
Okay. Okay. Here we have Linda. Could you stand up? Yeah.
Was there something when you were 5 and trying to go to first grade that you had to be brave about?
Yeah.
Because you said it felt hard. You had to be really brave to be a good healer.
It was already scary before my sisters got sick, because the school I went to was old. It was a long bus ride. It was dark. They had bad bathrooms. So I remember everything was. You know, it was very much of an alone feeling. And then more happened at home to make it feel even more insecure for me at that time.
One of the things I want to do, I'll have more questions in a second, but is this right side up? Can you hear me okay? Yeah. Okay. This past life experience we are speculating on, what I'd like to have you do is in a moment, to close your eyes and run through whatever this was, even though you don't know what it was, but just mentally make up whatever it was. And I'd like to know on a scale of 0 to 10 what your current intensity is as you do that. Go ahead.
I can feel my heart. My heart definitely started racing. Probably it's about an 8.
Somebody write down racing heart 8 or something like that, okay?
What was coming to me, there was healing in secret, dark place. That so many people were coming to me, it was very overwhelming for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that there were, it was more than one person. Individuals of power were very threatened by because I was getting this attention.
Okay.
There was so many people coming to me that they were very fiercely angry about that.
Were you like pissing off the king or something?
Probably, I see it's more than one person, it's men. Something like that. Yeah.
All right. So what I think I'd see, we're going to do all this tapping and stuff while you're gone, but we will.
My heart's still racing.
Okay. We will be testing not only what happens physically.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. We'll be seeing what happens as you recount that particular issue. So when you leave, please don't bother with that issue. I mean, just go look at the birds
Oh,
or
sure.
something.
I love being outside.
Now, one other thing I'd like to have you do is to imagine yourself, I think the way you just did that, but imagine yourself a year from now being this amazing healer. You're on television, you know, you're in the Los Angeles Coliseum, 100,000 people are standing up going, "Yay, Betsy, yay, Betsy," okay? Mm-hmm. Imagine that and tell me what emotional response you
Oh
get.
boy. Ooh.
We're going to help you out with me. Yay, Betsy, yay, Betsy, yay, Betsy, yay, Betsy, yay.
No, that's a 9.
That's a 9. Okay. Now, what I'd like to know, is there anybody else who would have questions for her to help you, get information before? Because I'm going to have you guys figure out what it is we're going to tap for, et cetera. I'm not going to do it. You guys are going to do it. But I have one back here, okay? Go ahead, stand up, could you?
I'd like to know how or when the connection between the flat feet and the ankle pain came about. How did you put those two together?
I ran track in high school and college.
Who told you it was because of your flat feet that your ankle?
Everywhere I go, when you said the doctor, I mean, I think as long back as I could remember, people would look at this foot and say, "Oh my God." And it's funny that I was always a runner, a very active person, that I still used it. And I only recently realized how bad it was, where I can't put weight on this foot when I do yoga.
Well, there are also, I played a lot of football.
Yeah.
And I know some guys that have flat feet that played football.
Right.
So, it doesn't necessarily have to end up with that.
And I mean,
your,
I wear
your flat
orthotics.
foot and your ankle may be completely unrelated. Mm-hmm. We're guessing here that's an emotional cause.
It's bringing something up for whatever reason. It's
Yeah.
serving a purpose here, right?
Okay. Hold on a second. Stand up, could you?
When did the pain show up? At what point in your life?
I don't recall it bothering me when I was running track, to be totally honest with you. More recently, actually, there you go.
Brilliant.
Well, let's see, I first learned about EFT in 2001. I suppose I've been associating it with aging, but perhaps that is not quite the situation.
So it showed up when you learned EFT?
Wait a minute.
So it showed up after you learned EFT?
And more than just EFT, I had some major transformation around 2001.
Emotional trans.
Emotional would not be the word for it. A major
beyond emotional.
spiritual lightning bolt might be the better term.
Okay, but that's when you started noticing the ankle.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that depends on the day. It can be worse some days than others. So, but you're right. Yeah,
What am I right about?
that's about when it became noticeable.
All right. See, we've zeroed in on some things like yay, Betsy, and all that kind of stuff. Give me some sense of the spiritual.
Oh, I remember a session with a hypnotherapist back in 2001 where I was deeply concerned about what my path was because I had learned this stuff, and I was asked the question, "Who are you?" Or I was asked to respond to that question, and I remember saying, "I am a spiritual leader," and then collapsing in tears.
Well, okay.
And
somebody
that
who
was
is
hard.
Somebody who's really good at being a healer, which was our first avenue door. I can see a parallel between that and being a spiritual leader, spiritual healer. I mean, I can even see the two things being the same thing in a way. If we are a great healer, that makes us very spiritual. I mean, I can see that connection.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm more okay with being spiritual than I am with being a healer.
Okay, well, all right, that's a little subtlety in there.
Yeah.
How are we doing time-wise?
You're exactly almost a quarter after. It's about 13 after. And you started
Yeah.
55 minutes ago, 3 minutes ago.
Okay, what I would like to do Well, first of all, we can have one or two more questions for her, but then we're going to take a break. Then we're going to come back. Then you can go for your walk. We're going to break for, is it okay to break for us about 12:30? Does that work okay? See, that tends to make the morning a little longer than the afternoon, because afternoons tend to be, you're not quite as energetic in the afternoon as you are in the morning kind of thing, okay? So, do we have other questions for her to help you understand what the issues are here? All right. Well, go ahead.
I noticed you said something about your path. And so you got a foot problem when you started talking about your path. If you're going to go with metaphors, you don't want to go down that path.
So we've got a foot problem. Okay, good. All right, go ahead.
I'm curious, are your left and right foot structurally equally flat?
This one's flat too, just not as much.
Okay, and do you associate anything special with the left side where you're experiencing the ankle pain?
I know left is the receiving side. The other interesting thing I'll just add to this is most of my health problems occur on my left side, almost exclusively.
Interesting.
If that helps you all in any way.
All right, go ahead, Loretta.
Just a question, Betsy. Is it visibility per se or only visibility as a healer? I mean, if you could imagine your birthday at the Coliseum where everyone...
Good question. Visibility as a healer.
So she said if it was your birthday, everybody said happy birthday at the Coliseum, you'd be okay?
We're going Betsy, and it was your birthday.
Yeah. I think it's more healer.
Okay.
I think it's more healer.
A couple of more, then we're gonna close it up. Lauren, go ahead. Could you stand up, please? Sure.
I just wanted to make a connection here, just from my own personal experience. Yes, the left side is when you said you receive. Another thing too is women particularly, we receive the energy through our right side, giving out to our left. If we have failed to receive nurturing, and our nurturing has been rejected, or we haven't been surrounded by it to the point of feeling safe, which connects to your experience when you were in kindergarten, particularly during an uncertain time and exploring a new dimension of your life, going to school. Nurturing was very, very important at that time. So to have that cut off during that time, it could be stored. My cancer was on my left side for similar situations of not receiving nurturing. So that my light just went on when you said that, that kind of connection.
Okay.
Well,
that's the kind of thing we can explore when we start doing tapping, for her. Okay. One more if we can. Go ahead.
Betsy, do you feel that
How's your sinuses?
They're better.
They're better.
They're better.
Okay.
Yeah, they're back down to a 3.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you feel that your life would be in danger in this lifetime if you were to fully realize yourself as a healer?
Yes.
And are you healing? Are you in the healing arts now? You're no longer a chemist.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm deep in it.
And did you lose your life in the prior lifetime because you were such a successful healer?
Well, let me just go in there a minute. Yeah, I did.
Okay. All right. It is now, according to my watch anyway, 11:14, so we get back here at 11:34, which is 20 minutes from whatever your watch says. Okay. Not at the moment. What we're going to do is have you, and you're going to be accompanied by Cheryl, and what you just need, just go out someplace, sit on a bench. You need not focus on any of this. In fact, please don't. We're just going to do our thing, and we're going to see what happens. All right.
Will we know when we're supposed to come back?
In 15 minutes, I assume you have a watch. Okay. So just go ahead. In a minute you walk out the door, that's when 15 minutes starts. And just focus on stuff other than what we talked about, okay? Are we having fun yet? Yes. Okay, now, I purposely did not write down any notes here. You folks wrote down some notes. So, but I remember some of it, so I'm going to have all of us start tapping group-wise. And then I want you, as we get into this, to start raising your hands and say, let's tap on this topic and that topic, and let's try this angle and that angle, etc. Okay? So let's give it a shot here. Tap with me and say, even though I'm Betsy, and I have this great fear of being an acknowledged healer, I probably also have this great need to be an acknowledged healer. Or why would I be in this field anyway? Maybe the real issue here is a conflict. I want to go that direction, but I think there's a fear out there and some big consequence which is completely irrational that I may die if I become an acknowledged healer. And I hereby make a list of all the acknowledged healers in the world and in history who died because they were huge healers. Who are they? Oh, Jesus, yes. Sorry. Do I look as embarrassed as I feel? I look red. God. Anyway, I'm not Jesus. And my fear of dying, of being an acknowledged healer, is likely irrational. I'm not afraid of, what's that? In this life is likely irrational. Okay? This irrational fear. I am Betsy, and I have this irrational fear. I am in conflict. My thoughts are going in one direction, and my fears are going in another. And I'm in conflict. I don't really think I'm going to die, at least logically, or else why would I be in this field? But my emotional response is, there's a big consequence. I may die. I may be humiliated. I may have many other consequences that might even seem worse than death. And the most logical thing here is, I'm making it all up. It's an inside job. Everybody in this room is a healer. At least most of us are. And I don't think many people here are afraid of dying because of it. How many people here are afraid of dying because you're a healer? You're afraid of dying because you're a healer. You are. Oh, we've got some like that. Okay, well, we're going to fix you too, okay? Okay. By the way, is it a rational fear? Is it a logical fear?
Not literally dying, but being ostracized.
Being ostracized. Yes, you have a fear of being ostracized. Okay. Even though I'm Betsy, and I may have a fear of being ostracized, or ridiculed, or singled out. Maybe like I was as a child, and I know how badly that feels. I'm an adult now, and I'm still reacting to some childhood stuff. I'm listening to the 5-year-old of a long time ago, reacting to old stuff. It's not rational. Maybe I will be ostracized. Maybe I will be ridiculed. It's possible that will happen. I can't keep it from happening. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But the way the world works is everybody has their own view of things, And if I am a acknowledged healer, I can't be acknowledged unless I'm also revered. How else could I be acknowledged? Somebody has to really understand me and like me, etc., to acknowledge me as a healer. But others may ostracize me. Guess what? Somebody will. That's just how it is. There is no president of anything, including the United States, and particularly our current one, who can please everybody. It just can't happen. And so I'm afraid of the inevitable. And it's showing up in my ankle. And on the left side of my body. For reasons that we don't all know. But it's clearly an inside job. I need peace. I need peace. I understand this logically. Emotionally, I don't get it. Emotionally, I'm responding in an inappropriate way. And I'm costing myself. And I hereby sit alone, close my eyes, and imagine being this acknowledged healer, just like I did when I was sitting in this chair and getting up to this high number.